Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another biology podcast. And this podcast's a little bit different. Quite exciting, really. And it's exciting because it's going to show you how you can get involved with the work of real scientists. So by the time you've watched this, you'll be able to get the data that you need to actually work alongside real scientists and actually help them out. And isn't that cool? So instead of me blathering on, let's just get into some biology. Okay, so this podcast has been designed specifically for those people that are working on primer design projects as part of mrclay13biology.wikispaces.com. So by now I'm assuming that you've actually been to that site, clicked on the appropriate DNA profiling link, and read through the material and watched the videos that outline the project you're working on. So at this point you should know that you should be working in a group that's no larger than 3 people. And the very first thing your group needs to do is send me an email at the address that's on your screen right now. Just leave that up there for a second so you can write it down if you need to. And in the email that you send to me, you need to put a few details in there for me. So on the screen now you'll see the requirements of the email that I need from you. So I need an email with the name of your group. You can be as creative as you like, just keep it clean. I need the full name of each of your group members, full names of each group member, and I need the school's name that you attend and the location where that is. So for example, you might call yourself the Cheeky Chappies. Your group might be Joe Blogs, Fred Jones, and Christine Scarlett. And the school you attend could be something like the King Clay College, located in Auckland, New Zealand. There's also one more important piece of information that I definitely need, and that is a Hotmail address for each of the individuals in your group. So if you haven't got a Hotmail address already, you may be on Gmail or something like that, then you need to actually create yourself a Hotmail account. And in the email you send to me with your group name, your full name, your school you attend, you also need to include the Hotmail addresses for each individual in your group. And I'll use that information, I'll send you an email to that account that'll actually give you the data files that you need so you can actually collaborate with one another on a shared Microsoft Excel document. So I'm hoping everything's clear so far. Let's have a look at the task, see what you've got to do, and see how you get involved. Obviously, the first thing you need to do is send me the email that we've just talked about a second ago. And once you do that, you're going to get an email from me to the Hotmail address that you created and sent to me. So let's have a quick look at what that email looks like and what you do with it. Okay, so when you open up the Hotmail account that you've sent me, you'll see that I'll have sent you an email that looks something like this. It says Windows Live User, and a live user has shared a document with you. So you click that and it'll open up and it will come to something like this. So here is an email from me talking about a Partiki captive breeding program and some microsatellite DNA profiling that's actually going on here. And here you can see that a document has been sent to you. So if you give that a click, this is what you need to do. Okay, yep. In just a second it will open another window and you will be able to see the spreadsheet. There we go, there's another window. And it's opening up an actual Excel spreadsheet. What's interesting about this is it is Microsoft Office 2010, but it's the online version of that comes sort of free with a Hotmail account, which is free, and you can use that basically anywhere in the world. Now, it's not got all the functions of usual Microsoft Office, so I can't actually think of anything it doesn't have right now, but it's got most of the functions of Microsoft Office in terms of PowerPoint, Word, and Excel. And basically what is cool about it is that you can access it anywhere in the world. You can use it for whatever. But the really cool feature is that it's collaborative. So I'm going to send you a document, a file that you can see is just popped up on the screen there now. But that file is also going to be owned by the other members of your group. And when they make a change to it, it will update that file that's stored on the internet, and those changes will be visible to you, even if you're in a different location. And that's exactly the same for what you actually do on the file as well, the edits that you make. So right now, all we can actually do here is actually view it. So let's say I want to actually edit this particular spreadsheet. If I click Edit in Browser, just there, it will just change the settings on it. And now it will basically give me the toolbars that you're used to seeing just here when you use Microsoft Excel. And I can now edit the spreadsheet. So I'm just going to put a series of numbers in the sidebar there in the side column. Okay, cool. I'm even going to get a little bit of flash and put a short formula in there as well. I'm going to add those things together there. And away we go. So, oh, I think I must have done something wrong there. Let's see, just press enter. And there we go, it's working. A little bit slow, but that's probably my internet connection. Okay, so now if I want to make sure that's saved, it will basically save things as I go. But once I've finished editing it, all I need to do is just click the close there, and it will take me back to SkyDrive, which is where all my sort of online storage is. That's actually through my Hotmail account. So there's another interesting feature of the whole SkyDrive thing is you've got 25 gigabytes of space to keep shared documents. If I want to start a new document, I can just start a new document here and basically just click on Windows Live, and it will take me to an option to do that. So if I want to go back into the file and just click on the potential primers file, which is the one we were just looking at, and it will open up again. Here we go, and you can see it's opening up as a view document again. So it's going to open up so I can see it, but I can't edit it. But you can see the changes I just made there and are visible. And that would be the same if I made them wherever I was in the world, or if somebody else in your group made a change as well. So if I want to edit again, I just click edit, and basically the same thing will happen. And when I finish editing, I just click the close button, and away we go. Okay, so let's talk about what you've actually got to do then. So by this stage you should know that you've got to design primers for the PCR that scientists are going to use in some kind of DNA profiling project, whichever one it is that you're engaged with. Now what that involves is you going through a list of possible microsatellites and identifying which ones would be good microsatellites for the study and which ones wouldn't be so good. On the screen now you can see the Excel document, and on there are about 151 possible microsatellites for the Partiki, which is the brown teal project that Landcare Research are working on right now. However, of those that are there, there's only going to be a small number that are actually usable by the scientists. So the first part of this task is actually identifying the best microsatellites for the scientists to use on the DNA profiling project that you're working on. To find out how to do that, you need to watch the Primer Design podcast that I've created and put on the Wikispace. On that podcast, it shows you the criteria to use to select which ones are the best, and it also talks a little bit about why the data's on Excel and how perhaps you could use Excel and the functions that software has to make that job a little easier. Now, while you're actually doing this work, you also need to document the methods that you actually use to refine the list of primers that you've got. Because whenever scientists do any scientific work, they record the methods that they use to actually do their work. This way, it allows other scientists to check on what they've done and review it to find out if their data that they've gathered is correct. In your case, the primers that you've actually found to be good, to find out if the methods that you've used to do that has been robust. The final thing you need to do is actually identify why those criteria exist in the first place. So, for example, one of the criteria that you're going to look at is that the primers have to be a certain length. So you need to actually do some research yourself and find out, okay, well, what difference does the length of the primer actually make? Why is it so important? At the end of this, just like any other scientists, you need to actually present your work, present the things that you've actually found out, present the way you actually refined your list of microsatellites, and present the microsatellites that you think are the best one for this study. To do this, what your group needs to do is to produce a short podcast, similar to the one I'm producing right now. The podcast should include 3 sections. The first section should be you explaining why those criteria exist in the first place. So, for example, why does primer length matter? The second section should talk about the methods that you used to refine the list of microsatellites down to just which ones were going to be useful and which ones weren't so useful. And the third section should be the choices you actually made. Which were the best microsatellites in your opinion? Each of those podcasts should be less than 10 minutes in length. So just like a real scientific conference, you need to ensure that you keep to time. Otherwise, people just stop listening. If you've never made a podcast before, don't worry about it. Just go to my YouTube channel, and there's a couple of videos there on how to make audio podcasts and how to use that would use a piece of software called Audacity. and how to also make audio-visual podcasts using Movie Maker. It's really simple. Within 20 minutes, you can be making your own. So I hope all that's clear. If not, go to mrclay13biology.wikispaces.com and click on whichever DNA profiling link that you're working on, which will be on the right-hand side of the page. And most of those instructions are sitting there as well. Once you've done that, and you've made sure you've sent me the email, you should be able to crack on with it. But if you've got any questions, you can send me an email or post a message on the discussion forum of the wiki page, which would be a great idea, and someone will get back to you shortly with an answer to your query. Well, that's all I really need to say, really, so I'm going to leave it there. I hope you go well. I hope I've given you enough information, but if not, let me know. But as always, make sure you always keep it real.